Hello everyone, in this video I am going to talk about load balancer in AWS. So let us understand what is a load balancer. It is a technique which distributes incoming traffic across multiple servers. So whenever you are receiving a lot of traffic, what load balancer it will do? It will balance the traffic among the servers. Now there are multiple types of load balancer. First of all, we have classic load balancer, which is the oldest one. Then after that, we have application load balancer. Then we have network load balancer. And after that, we have gateway load balancer. Now let us talk each one of them. First of all, let us start with application load balancer. It operates at layer 7 of the OSI model for advanced routing. Let us understand with the help of an example. Suppose that you are getting an HTTPS request to various microservices on your URL path like login or product. At that point of time, application load balancer will be used. So when you have to deal with multiple microservices, at that point, application load balancer will be used. Next, we have network load balancer. It works at layer 4 of the OSI model, which is TCP and UDP. It is used when you are handling low latency application like financial trading system, where you have to require handling multiple millions of TCP UDP requests per second. Next, we have gateway load balancer. It is used when you want to scale your traffic for the network security appliances such as firewall to filter and inspect traffic before reaching to your virtual private cloud. So normally you can see that it is used when you want for the security purpose. So if you want to enhance the security, at that point we will be using gateway load balancer. And last, we have classic load balancer. It works on the layer 4 and layer 7 of the OSI model. Means it works at TCP layer also and HTTPS also. When it is used for the older EC2 application which don't require advanced routing. So for that purpose, we will be using classic load balancer. Next, let us see the demo of application load balancer in AWS. So first of all, what we have to do is we have to create a virtual private cloud. So I'm searching here for VPC. Click on create VPC. Give it a name. So I'm naming it as demo. Then you have to give CIDR range. So I'm naming it as 10.0.0.0/16. Once the CIDR range is specified, the next thing you have to do, click on create VPC. The next thing that we have to do is we have to create two subnets. So subnet 1, subnet 2. Both of them are public type. So I'm going to the subnet here. Click on create subnet. Here select my VPC, which is demo. And this is my first subnet. Availability zone chooses at 1A. Then your CIDR range will be 10.0.0.0/24. Then you have to create one more subnet, which is of public type. So name it as second subnet. Availability zone, make it as 1B. And the CIDR range will be 10.0.1.0/24. Now click on create subnet. Once the subnet is created, the next step will be to create an internet gateway and route table. So go to internet gateway and click on create internet gateway. Name it as IZ1 and click on create internet gateway. After that, what you have to do, you have to attach this internet gateway to your virtual private cloud. So click on attach to a VPC. It is important because you need an internet connection. So that's why internet gateway is needed. Once it is done, you have to go to route tables and you have to click on create route table. So I will name it as RT and I will select this as demo. Now click on create route table. Once the route table is created, the next step will be to add the subnet here. So click on edit subnet association and select both of them. Once it is done, you have to edit the routes. So click on edit routes and here you have to add the internet gateway. So anywhere and select your internet gateway. Once the VPC is configured, the next step is to create two EC2 instances in each of the subnet. So here search for EC2, click on instance running and click on launch instance. I am naming it as EC2 1. Here the AMI that I will be selecting is Ubuntu. Next, you have to create a key pair login. So I am clicking on create new key pair. Name it as demo ALB and download the PEM file here. Once it is done, what you have to do? You have to edit your network setting. So click on edit. Here you have to select your demo VPC. Now you have to select the first subnet and you have to enable your public IP so that it can be accessible. Once it is done, you have to create a security group and here you have to add one more security group rule, which is adding HTTP port and the source will be anywhere. Once this thing is done, the next step will be add some user data. So go to advanced detail and here in the user data section, you have to paste this thing. This detail will be given in the description. You can check it out. And here what we are doing, here we are printing the server detail along with the host name and the IP address. Once it is done, click on launch instance. Similarly, what you have to do, you have to create your second EC2 instance. So click on launch instance here. Name it as EC2 2. AMI will be Ubuntu. Instance type will be t2.micro. And the key pair will be that I have created before, which is demo ALB. So we'll be using that one. So this is our demo ALB. And in the network setting, what you have to edit, you have to select your VPC here. And here you have to select your second subnet. Now you have to enable your public IP also. And in the security group, you have to add the HTTP port. Source type will be anywhere. And in the user data, you have to add this detail. Now after that, you have to click on launch instance. Now let us verify that EC2 is working or not. So just select your first EC2, copy your IPv4 address here, and in the new tab, just paste it here and click on enter. Now you can see that it is working. Similarly, you have to verify for second EC2. Just copy it and paste it here. Now you can see that it is also up and working. So this is our first EC2 and this is our second EC2. The next step that we have to do is we have to create an target group. Now you have to go to load balancing, and in the load balancing there is an option called as target group. So a target group is basically a group of EC2 instances which is used for receiving traffic from a load balancer. So what I am going to do is I am going to click on create target group. Here you have to select the target type. So here you have to select instances. Now you have to give the name of your target group. So I am naming it as demo ALB. The port, which is 80. The IP address that I am using is IPv4. And the VPC, you have to select your own VPC because you have created it. And health checks, leave as it is. And after that, you have to click on next. Here, there are two EC2 instances available. Now what you have to do, select both of them and click on include. Once it is done, you have to click on create target group. Once this thing is done, the next step is to create an application load balancer. So if you remember, application load balancer is used for handling the HTTP and HTTPS traffic. So I'm going to the load balancer here and clicking on create load balancer. Here I have to select the application load balancer. So I'm clicking on create. Name it as demo ALB. Scheme will be internet facing because here it requests the client over the internet to target. That's why it requires an internet facing. Now the IP address type will be IPv4. If you are using IPv4 and IPv6 both, in that case you can select dual stack. And if you are without using IPv4, then you can use this one. So currently we are using IPv4, that's why I am selecting IPv4. Now in the network mapping, what you have to do, you just have to select your own VPC. Now here you have to select both the availability zone. Now in the security group, you have to add both the security groups here, which is 36 and 35. Now, in the listeners and routing, you have to provide your target group that you have just created. So here, just select here and select the target group. Once it is done, you just have to click on create load balancer. Now it will take some time, around 1 or 2 minutes, so you have to wait for it. Currently the state is in provisioning mode, so you have to wait. Now you can see that it is up and running. So you have to go to your load balancer. Now you have to copy your DNS name. Let me create here a new tab and pasting the link. And now you can see it is working. So this is basically the application load balancer. If you refresh it, the IP address will change. So here we can see, now it is changing. So this is how you create a application load balancer in AWS.